We already know it's the most wonderful time of the year, and it can be in your bullet journal too, but what if you want to do a Christmas-themed bullet journal layout that doesn't necessarily scream traditional Christmas, or maybe you don't have a whole lot of bullet journal supplies to work with for Christmas? If that's you, this video is for you, and it's sponsored by Skillshare. Hello my fellow bullet journal babe, it's Erin here, and I have 3 themes for you in this video. The first one we're going to start with here I'm calling catalogue clippings, because the central theme of it is that you're taking all of your decorations from a catalogue. Get yourself to your local department store, pick up one of their free catalogues and turn to the Christmas pages, because you are going to find gold. If you're in Australia, I recommend the Myer catalogue, which is what I'm using, because it is spectacular. Start by leafing through the catalogue and finding any pictures that you think might work well for you in a theme. It's actually really easy to get a cohesive theme going because they quite often match colours across a page in a magazine spread like this anyway, so everything already looks good together. I'm using a metal ruler and a craft knife for this because I find it to be the quickest way for me, but scissors will work just fine as well. I'm going to be centering my theme around this beautiful pink and white Christmas tree design. I just think it's so pretty. And I feel like it's not an uncommon colour scheme to see on a Christmas tree, but outside of that you don't see it for Christmas very often, pink and silver and white, so I'm going to bring that into my bullet journal. You could tear the page up, you could use it in pieces, you could stick it in whole like it is and cover a whole page with that. I decided I wanted to cut out the Christmas tree, so I'm just going around the shape of it quite vaguely, and then going through my other catalogue pictures to find the ones that I think are the best match, or maybe just the prettiest. Next you want to play around with the composition, so working out where things should go on the page to create something that looks a little bit balanced, a little bit comfortable for your eye. A good way to think about this is to think of the left and right, top and bottom, kind of almost in quarters. So if you position something very bright and colourful in the bottom left corner, you'll probably also want to position something bright and colourful in the top right corner to give your composition some balance. It's not a hard and fast rule, but it is a really good way to start if you're not sure how to dive into a collage layout like this. Now I'm just grabbing a bit of scrap paper. This is an old envelope. I really like using these in my journal, I've done it before. And my favourite pink pen of the moment, which is from my Stationery Pal video. You can see a link up in the top right corner if you'd like to watch that. It's a glitter paint pen from Posca, and I'm using it to letter the word December because that is the month for which this is all about, the month of Christmas. And I'm just going to cut around this quite close to the lettering so that it almost has the appearance of a sticker. So it has that little bit of white background, which is going to separate it from all of this crazy busy imagery that we already have down on the page. And I wanted to have this December header element as something that I could play with working out my composition as well, which is why I'm doing this part before sticking anything else down to the page. I want to be able to move things around until I'm super happy with them. From here, you just move things around and play with them until you like what you see. So I'm starting with my Christmas tree in the middle of the page because I feel like that makes the most sense. And I'm just playing with layering things behind it and in front of it. I'm tearing around these ballet slipper ornaments, and I've torn around the nutcracker guys as well so that they have a bit of a different texture to the rest. Things can start to sort of blur into each other, so you do want to be a bit careful about this if you have a fairly busy spread going on. You might even want to put some space around things or stick one of these pictures down to a separate piece of paper to give them a white border. Something like that to create some separation can work really well. And I really recommend, once you're happy with where you've placed everything, take a photo of it on your phone so you can refer back to it, because I always forget where I was planning to stick things and it ends up maybe a little bit different than what I'd thought. Which is not necessarily a bad thing, but having a photo of it just is so helpful. It will also help you remember in which order you need to place everything down, because if you want something to be at the front, like the Christmas tree here, then you need to stick it down last. I wanted my nutcracker friends to be at the front, so I'm sticking those down last on top of the Christmas tree. And I'm just going to put my December heading down over the top of the Christmas tree. That white backdrop really makes it stand out a little bit, and I love this pen so much. It's a glitter paint pen, so it's very good for the season. And I'm just going to get in there with it and add some little extra doodles, some lines around some of these elements to help them jump off the page a little bit. Make things a little bit more scrapbooky style and give it my own flavour. So I'm outlining the ballet slippers, I'm doing a line around my nutcracker friends here as well. In case you couldn't tell from the pictures I've chosen, I'm a bit of a ballet girl, so the nutcracker and the ballet slippers really spoke to me, as well as the pink, I guess. And the little embellishments you draw on your pictures might be very different to mine depending on what kind of pictures you're working with, so look for opportunities to add a little bit of something extra. I'm going to do a very subtle frame around this doorway, and I'm going to draw just a couple of lines around this cocktail glass over here. From this point, it's time to reach into whatever stationery you have available to you. I have these little frame stamps, so I'm going to use those just on some corners. I'm using my paint pen to color them in rather than a stamp pad because I want it all a bit matchy-matchy. And I'm going to stamp those over the top of the pictures a little bit on the white page so you can see them popping out from the white background. I feel like this filigree look works really well with the very girly, very glittery kind of theme that we've got going on here. And when you think of Christmas, you probably don't think floral stickers, but why not, right? And they go well with this color scheme, so I have these stickers left over from some other projects, and I'm just using them to fill in some small spaces around that needed a little bit of something to tie it together. And I'm also using my pink paint pen again to doodle some little flowers to tie everything in together. I'm deliberately placing these little roses so that they're peeking out from behind other elements on the page, so it adds to that kind of layered effect. And I decided my December wasn't popping quite enough, so I've taken a very fine liner and I'm just using it to outline my December lettering on the header just to make it jump off the page that little bit more. So that's a cute cover page. What about using these practically within your spreads that you actually need to work from through the month? This time we're going to set up a weekly spread. This is one of my favorite weekly layouts, and I stole it from Ruthie Journals and I love it so much. You have 3 boxes on the left page and 4 boxes on the right page, so you end up with 1 box for every day of the week. And in the spaces you can add some decoration, which is where our catalogue is going to come in handy once again. And I'm gonna mix it up from the pink and silver theme this time and go for something a little bit more traditionally Christmas. My catalogue has all these lovely decoration ornament close-up pictures, so I'm going to size those down to around about the size that I need them to be to match the boxes of the weeklies. And also these lovely tablescapes, I thought that was just so pretty, and I wanted a nice mix of red and green on my page, so I'm trying to coordinate things here. I'm going to place them in a way that I think will end up with the spread looking quite balanced. Just following those same principles that we talked about before. It's almost like an equation, you know, the same thing above as below. So first I'll place my red elements so they're not right next to each other, and then I'll space out my green elements around them. Stick them down, and then we can add some lettering to each of these boxes so we know which one is for which day. You can also layer elements in these decorative spaces too if you like, but I wanted to show you a super simple way that still is going to look wonderful. So now I'm using my letter stamps with a green paint pen, but you could absolutely just handwrite the name for each day of the week instead, or you can just add the initial, or if you have stickers for that, you could do something like that. Whatever you have and whatever you like the look of, that's what you should do. I'm actually trying to be super efficient with my lettering here, where I'm doing the first part of each word, and then because the day at the end is the same across all of them, I'm trying to do all of those together, and it worked pretty well. I was still feeling like I needed a bit more red, so just a quick drop shadow around the boxes in whatever direction I felt like at the time, and I still have so many of these elements left, which is fantastic, and it's all from the one catalogue, so there's so much to work with there. You could definitely get a whole month's worth of decoration out of this one Myer catalogue, so I really recommend it. And that can work for other holidays too. Now let's move on to my second theme idea, which is using something that we all have lots of around us at Christmas, and that is wrapping paper. It's another one of those very easy, you don't need any artistic skills kind of bullet journal best kept secrets, and I actually used one of these in my journal last year, so if you'd like to see that video, I will pop a link up in the corner for you, as well as in the description so you can see how I used it in my 2021 December layout. The great thing about wrapping paper is that it's usually pretty lightweight, so it doesn't bulk up your journal a great deal. It's easy to tear unless it's got a foil or something like that in it, so that can make it a bit harder to tear, but most of the time it's really easy to tear, which I love. And it comes in so many styles, colors, sizes. You can find so many beautiful wrapping papers out there, so the possibilities for your journal are endless. If you already have some Christmas wrapping paper in your house, you're ready to get journaling right now. So all I've done here is cut these 2 pieces of wrapping paper to length and torn them along the sides, and I'm using some glue tape to stick them down so that they're lining the sides of what will be my cover page on the left side here. I'm using a brush pen to letter the word December in the gap in between. This one is a Tombow Fudonosuke brush pen, and I'm going to add a tiny little calendar underneath so that I know where I am in December at any given moment. And once we've added the numbers here, that's already a pretty gorgeous minimalist Christmas style cover page. It's bold, but it's still quite minimal. But of course, this is me, so I'm gonna get in there with some stickers and just give it a little bit of something more, because Christmas is the time for maximalism, in my humble opinion. These stickers are from the Washi tape shop. I will have links to the specific washi tape sticker rolls that I'm using in the description down below. But if you don't have any Christmas stickers, this could also be a really good opportunity to cut out some images from your catalogs and put them here as well. Now let's set up a calendar page so I can show you how I would use a different kind of wrapping paper. This one has what looks like little tags and stamps on it, as though they're gift tags or postage stamps and stuff like that. So I'm going to show you how I would use that on the calendar page as a little bit of an extra decorative element without needing to necessarily line the page the way I did on the cover page there on the left. But before we know where these decorations can go, we need to set up the calendar itself. So this one is 5 spaces tall by 3.5 spaces wide for each of my calendar boxes. You get used to putting lines in the halfway spaces between dots in the journal, I promise. It gets a bit tricky, but you can get used to it. I'm adding the days of the week along the top and the number in the little circle for each of these. I accidentally added one too many little circles for numbers. There is no 32nd of December. And this is the wrapping paper. So I'm getting my trusty craft knife again, and I'm just cutting around each of these. You could once again do this with scissors if you don't have a craft knife, or if you just prefer to do it with scissors, that's fine too. Just going all the way around this do not open tag here so that it can almost act like a sticker in my book. Same again with this one, no peeking. And let's do a circular one with a Christmas tree on. This one doesn't have any text, we'll just cut out the circle. Now I'm going to use these like stickers and place them around my calendar layout. You can cut some of them in half if you don't have quite enough room, which I definitely don't have quite enough room to paste these down whole. If you have a bigger journal, you could absolutely use the whole thing if you needed to, or if you wanted to, you like the look of it. Just work within the space that you have, and I'm even cutting the do not open one in half and putting half of it above the calendar and the other half below. Like, it's really long and stretching all the way through. Just before we get into the third theme, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes across so many areas, from creative pursuits like painting and digital art to project management, coding, music, DIY. Whatever you're interested in, Skillshare is here to help you learn. I first became a member of Skillshare back in 2020 to learn about the basics of interior design so that I could transform my living room into a space that would feel comfortable and personal to both myself and my partner. But more recently, I've been super interested in learning to use watercolors properly, and Skillshare has a wealth of classes I can't wait to dive into. I've started with Watercolor Flowers, a beginner's guide to loose painting with Altea Alessandroni, and I've already learned so much, but you should see my saved list. There are so many classes I want to take about calligraphy and Procreate and Cricut projects. One of my favorite Skillshare features is the filter function, so you can search for your area of interest, choose your skill level and how much time you have to dedicate to learning, and Skillshare will show you classes that are a perfect match for you. You don't need to wait for the new year to start that new hobby or improve on your skills. The first 1,000 people to use my link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare, so you can start learning right away. Onward to the last of our Christmas themes. This one I'm calling Vintage Collage, and it's going out to all of my fellow Southern Hemisphere friends who are having Christmas in summer, just like me. If you just can't handle looking at red and green because it makes you feel even hotter, this is for you. So rather than going for red and green, I'm using a mix of vintage brown, kind of tan colors, mixed in with a little bit of green and some pops of red, but like subtle, you know, not like in your face Santa's costume kind of stuff, but a little bit more subtle. I'm using a scrapbooking paper set that I got from Stationery Pal, and I will link to that along with everything else that I can link to in this video in the description. But if you don't have a scrapbooking paper set like mine, you can tea stain or coffee stain some bits of paper. Elizabeth from Plant Based Bride has a really good tutorial on how to do that. You can use washi tapes or pages from old books, whatever you can get your hands on to do something like this. I have some elements that I've layered together floating on the left page, and I'm going to letter December with my uppercase letter stamps and a gold paint pen this time. Similar to the cover page for our catalogue theme, I'm going to tear around this time rather than cutting it, and I'm going to stick that over the top of all of these layers so that you know what month you're in when you're using this layout. I really like how this cover page is kind of floating with the negative space around it, which is quite different to the previous one where the negative space was down the middle of the page vertically and we had filled in the sides. And for an example page on the right, I'm going to do a goals page this time, and I had this little envelope as part of the scrapbooking set, and it gave me an idea to do something a little bit out of the box. If you don't have an envelope in a scrapbooking set, that is okay, you can cut your own, or you can use a different sized envelope to me if you have some postage ones around. But I'm going to put my goals inside the envelope on some little pieces of paper. I thought that would be so cute, like letters to myself for my goals for the month. The main thing I'm trying to keep in mind for the composition of this one is lots of space to breathe, lots of negative space, lots of white page that I haven't filled in. So I'm using this transparent gingham as kind of the basis for things. I'm going to stick this doily down, which is a bit tricky because you can only really add glue to the middle of it, otherwise it will peek through the holes. Another little piece of green paper that I thought was nice and worked with everything. I'm going to stamp my goals heading straight onto the doily so it's matching with the opposite page, but it's a little bit different as well. And then stick my envelope down by the back on a little bit of a jaunty angle. I cut these little bits of paper to about the same size out of my leftover envelope bits, and I'm adding 4 little goals on here so that I can pull them out from the little envelope anytime I need to check in on what my goals for December were. Just tuck them in there, and it's like a cute little surprise every time you open your journal. I wanted something to hold the envelope shut, so I'm using a tiny little sticker from one of my Washi tape shop sticker rolls. And I really wanted to lean into the green a little bit more on the left page, so I've grabbed some more of those stickers out. Remember I used the pink stickers with the flowers on the first theme? These are actually from the same set. And the same concept, but in reverse. I wanted a little bit more brown or beige or tan on the right page, so I'm adding some little stamp stickers as well. I picked 2 that had some red elements as well, just to bring in that little touch of Christmas, and I'm layering those on top of my doily. And those are my 3 bullet journal collage Christmas theme ideas. Thank you so much for planning with me. And if you do use any of these theme ideas, please make sure to tag me. I am at erinsmith.art on Instagram, and I would love to see. Whether you're a Christmas person or not, I hope December is very kind to you. And I hope you'll subscribe and do some more bullet journaling with me in 2023. Bye!